Hello and welcome to Soap Secrets. Another week has passed, but a lot has happened in the soaps. And this morning I have Victoria Wilson here joining me. Hi, Victoria.
Hi, Hannah.
Okay, so Holby. We're going to talk about Holby at the moment. We're really worried about Evie, aren't we?
Yeah. So it was recently revealed that Jeni Sinclair, obviously played by the wonderful Deborah Stevenson, she has something of a shady sideline in grooming underage girls for rich men.
It's just a horrible storyline, this one, isn't it?
Yes. Anyway, so in next week's Holby, she sort of steps up her campaign, if you like, to push Fletcher's very innocent daughter, Evie, into the arms of, she's got this wealthy client, Rich, who is very rich. He sort of took an instant shine to Evie when he saw her at the hospital. So fast forward to this week, and Jeni's kind of all set for a hospital fundraiser. She's getting the place all decked out, and so is Rich. He knows that Jeni's sort of managed to persuade young Evie to be a hostess at the event. And there's a conversation right at the start where he's like, oh yeah, she's waitressing, is she? And he transfers money to Jeni there and then. It's really he sort of says, oh, okay, yeah, I expect to get what I paid for. It's really
That's just grotty, isn't it? That is just nasty.
So it looks like it's kind of all systems go, and like for Jeni at least. But when Evie sort of then says, "Oh, she's sort of not going to be there," she sort of realised it's a posh do like that is kind of, quote, not her thing. But when she does that, sort of Jeni freaks out, obviously knowing what's going on in the background. It's actually Evie's dad, Fletch, of all people, who tells Evie that Jeni will be upset if she doesn't show. So to persuade her, he kind of makes an agreement that, you know, if I go, you go. And she's like, oh yeah, okay then. Rich is kind of sitting there listening to all this, thinking, right, yeah, cheers, Dad.
Yeah.
It's sort of quite strange. Anyway, so Evie sort of changes her mind, and she sort of makes every inch the sort of perfect hostess as she gets dressed up that evening to welcome the guests to the fundraiser, including Rich, of course. The event's a big success. And later, there's a party. Jeni tells Evie there's a party at Rich's house, and all the other waitresses, they all come out together, and she has all the other waitresses be attending. And then that's sort of when the sort of waitresses go one way, and Rich sort of rather unsubtly tells Evie that you can head there in my taxi. And then Jeni kind of watches that Rich and Evie go off together, and you're sort of wondering, has she crossed the line? And I suppose could young Evie be in danger? We're really intrigued to see where this storyline goes, but we just know it's not going to end well.
It's not going to end well, is it? I mean, this is just really, it's uncomfortable viewing, I think.
Yeah, I just think, I think we were sort of discussing beforehand. I think it on screen it doesn't play out so badly because Evie, and obviously the actress who plays her, is that little bit older. I think if she was younger, we'd be entering quite dangerous territory.
Yeah, you really would be. I mean, it's yeah, I know what you're saying. It's just, I don't know. It's just the whole the storyline is just it's just uncomfortable because of the storyline, I suppose.
But I think it's important. I think the crucial thing with this is obviously the focus on this sort of thing is always on men, and we have Rich at the centre of the storyline, but it's Jeni, a woman, a successful woman, who's kind of steering it all, and I actually think that is quite an important narrative.
I do as well.
You wouldn't look at Jeni, you wouldn't look at her, and when the proverbial hits the fan, which it no doubt will, there are gonna be, the shocks will just ripple, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think you're right. It's sort of bringing to light the fact that it isn't sort of, we kind of have these ideas built up in our mind that it's got to be a man, and it's got to be, and actually it's somebody who you least expect. And I think you're right. It does shine a spotlight on that. And it's not
who you trust,
and who you trust. Yeah. It's not the only storyline, though, rumbling on this week, is it? Because, of course, Josh and Ange and the pregnancy.
Yeah, they're having a baby. so after Angie's sort of had her bombshell revelation that she's pregnant, so after that, both she and Josh have obviously got a lot to consider. Mainly, he's very young and she's very not, so they've got a lot going on there. And anyway, she sort of tells Josh that she has decided to have the baby. Her words, she can't give up another one. Obviously, we've got the backstory there about how she gave Dom up for adoption when he was a boy. But she sort of insists to Josh that's her decision. It doesn't have to be his. If he decides he can't sort of give up on his nights out, it basically comes off on the back of it. He went to sort of sort his head out, but typically for a guy that means going to the pub and downing loads of whiskies. So she's like, if you feel like you can't give up doing that, then she won't sort of hold it against him. But Josh sort of worries that Ange sort of doesn't think he's up to fatherhood, and this is the point where he sort of assures her that he's been a carer for his mum, who has MS. So it's sort of not his the whole caring role. This is not his first rodeo, so to speak. So he feels sort of more than ready to look after sort of Ange and their baby, I guess. And as sort of Ange, with the patient storyline that comes in, she sort of sees Josh's nurturing side firsthand when she sees how sensitive and caring he is when he deals with their patient Delroy, who's been in a few weeks now. He's sort of guiding him to expressing his own emotions, and he's just got such a nice way with him. So she sort of sees that, and then they sort of come to a crossroads, and they both decide that they both do really want to be parents, and kind of with that they sort of excitedly head off as a real solid couple for their first scan. Now we won't give too much away about what it reveals, just to say it looks like Ange and Josh are both going to have their hands full.
Oh, I knew it. I was about to guess. Oh my goodness me.
Yeah, so you have to watch to see how it plays out. But yeah, busy. Exciting.
Whoa, it's all happening. It's all happening in Holby. And it's also all happening in Casualty. And Claire Rock is here to join to talk about Casualty.
I know you've been really enjoying this storyline, haven't you, with David's son Ollie fainting?
Yes, it's been my favourite storyline because I love David. He is just so great. I just find his mannerisms and the way he acts just brilliant. And he's really a great dad, and he loves Ollie. And we all know Ollie's been fainting and being sick, and Rash doesn't know what's causing it. And then, of course, a couple of weeks ago we had the big blow up when Rash suggested he was being poisoned, and perhaps Rosa was doing it, David's wife. And David accused his wife of poisoning his son. So that's sort of put the marriage on the rocks, shall we say, Hannah?
Yeah, funny that.
So it was all based on the fact that Rosa's son died of sickness and fainting. And this week we discover that she hadn't poisoned her son, of which we all knew, because Rose is lovely. But very sadly, her son passed from sepsis. She thought he had the flu and a high temperature, and by the time she realised he was really quite sick and got into hospital, it was too late. So it had nothing whatsoever to do with her poisoning him. So it's an interesting point. We've moved on, but Ollie and Rose has moved out of the marital home. So Ollie is still fainting and being sick. So obviously it's not Rosa, is it, Hannah?
It's not right, but Rosa's too nice anyway. Yes. We all knew that,
yes.
Didn't we?
Yes. And so David accuses Rosa of seeing Ollie the night before. He's still fixated on her being the problem, and he grabs hold of his son's phone, and he's got loads of texts from this person called Ma. So he automatically thinks that Ma is short for mother, Ma. But it's not. It's it's not Rosa, it's somebody else. So does this Ma have something to do with Ollie's condition?
Who is this Ma?
Yes.
But David's going to have to do some serious apologising to Rosa, isn't he?
Yes.
But I can't imagine that's going to go too well.
No, we see him make a complete and utter mess of it. It's brilliant. He's just, he leaves her sitting at a wet bus stop after apologising. He doesn't say, I'll give you a lift home. It's like, what?
And after Rash told Fenisha a couple of weeks ago that Ethan was in love with her, she starts to think about what she wants, doesn't she? This is the other storyline running along here.
Yeah, what Rash talked to her about really hits home. And she's been with Matthew, she's been dating Matthew, but really her heart lies with Ethan. They have that pull, Hannah, of the son of Bodhi together. And we've seen Ethan being really nice and loving, and with the Huntingtons, he feels the Huntingtons is coming on a bit faster than he would like now. He feels he's unable to take care of his family, and he wants her safe and secure. That's why he's been pushing her into the arms of Matthew. But this week, she breaks up with Matthew again. Really? So Matthew gets really upset about this. Quite frankly, so would I, because she stood him up at the altar, and now she's dumped him again. And he said, this is... all my friends said, don't trust you. You know what? They were right.
But will Ethan finally get his girl?
Well, that's the big question this week.
And will we find out? That's the other thing, Claire. You're not going to tell me, are you? Okay.
I'm not. Thank you for listening to this week's Soap Secrets, where we featured Holby City and Casualty for the 17th to the 23rd of July. We are available on iTunes, Spotify and Acast, and now you can get us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe.